synergizing.
Alright. This week we got Void Bastards.
They sure are bastards, aren't they?
So Saine, what the fuck is Void Bastards? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's, so it's like a procedurally generated roguelike first-person shooter. So it has lots of buzzwords, but
And then another map
actually,
like FTL.
But it's actually really good. This is probably one of my favorite versions of a first-person shooter. One of these.
Oh, good.
Here's the very much FTL star map kind of thing.
Yeah, seriously.
Take a number of weapons and you kind of unlock them as you go on.
Okay. So do you get like new weapons per run too?
No. So the way that runs kind of work in this is the part that's so like the actual ships you go on, that's the layout of those are random, and some of the events on it are random, and some of the enemies on it are random. This one doesn't have power on it. This one doesn't have power on it, so I have to go hit the generator before I do anything.
So you're kind of going on to ships, like you're raiding ships.
Yeah, you're basically.
And that's what the star map is. You're picking what ship you go and raid.
Yeah, you're raiding a bunch of derelict ships with these like zombie monsters on it that are all corporate like characters as well. Like
oh, good.
So I guess like the conceit of this game is that everybody works for the super mega corporation, but they arrest you for things such as farting near your supervisor or what was another one? Like looking funny at the CEO. It's just random stuff like that, and then you have super long sentences. So you play these the Void Bastards, the titular Void Bastards in this scenario are essentially like indentured servants who have been dehydrated, and then like when your character dies, they
like an Austin Powers.
Well, even like more like powder.
Oh, okay.
So they like, you know, when a character dies, they tear off another character, put it in a pod, and then like add water to it, and then you have to like go from where your character left off.
Huh.
So what kind of happens in this game is like when you die, rather than losing any real progress, you lose the ship you were on at the time that you died, and you lose that character and whatever traits that character had.
So you lose out on like the chance for the rewards on that ship.
Yeah, and in a similar way to like Rogue Legacy, your characters have different traits that will affect like different things. This character has Deadeye, so she's more accurate than normal.
Okay.
I love that system.
So you might have to get used to a playstyle you're not used to if you roll a character that has like a trait you might.
Right. And I've seen some pretty, like some of them have been kind of boring, but I've seen some pretty interesting ones. Like there was this one that I got called Towering, which just made me really tall, and so it set my like view perspective like really high.
It must have been easier to get headshots.
Well, it was kind of interesting because yeah, it was easier to get headshots, and also you could see over things that like you wouldn't necessarily notice right away. Like you would go into the like the barracks essentially, and then you could see like all of the top bunks really easily.
That's pretty funny. Oh, and you just make some coffee there to triple your damage.
Yeah, no big deal. There's a lot of like kind of corporate humor stuff going on. So like all of the enemies are various forms of like the basic enemies are like janitors, and you'll also run into like supervisors, and there's also juvies, which are like children, I guess.
Okay, but
and so here's a gene splicer. So this thing will overwrite one of your traits or give you a new one.
Okay.
And so you can like over time add to your character and change your character up by doing that.
Okay, so yeah, like if you keep a character, and then that would be where it's devastating to lose a character if you build it up over time like that.
Right. The only thing though is that I wish that the traits kind of did a little bit more, because, like, yeah, it's cool that you can sometimes get something that changes a lot, but most of the time it doesn't really change enough to really make you worry about dying as much as I would like. Although it does also reset your position on the star map, which is kind of annoying, or can be.
Mm-hmm. Is there like an end to go to, or is it just infinitely doing these?
So the way that I'll show you after we get off of the ship, but there's kind of a like overall like crafting system thing where the main goal of you going onto these ships is for you to find parts to build other things. So, and over time you just sort of get a collection of like things that, like new weapons and new abilities and new stuff. Like here I want to just blow it up, so I throw a little mine.
Why would you do that? Can you pet the dog?
Well, I needed that control collar, you see? So I killed it and salvaged a control collar. And now I can control kitty bots and dog bots from this point forward. Although I don't...
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, you kind of, like, over time are unlocking more gadgets for you to take onto these missions.
Oh, okay. And do you lose those gadgets, or...?
No, everything you build, you keep, essentially. Everything you make it back to your ship with, you keep. Because your character dying doesn't really affect the ship. It affects, that person more so than anything. And then your little robot butler manager guy gives you, information, or says stuff like, oh, don't worry about the previous, people who collected things for the ship. They were released from their contract, or something along those lines.
So each character is supposed to know that they're basically made to die horribly.
Yeah, and basically the first like major goal that you get is you need to get a citizenship like ID card. So you need to get all of the pieces for an ID card and like a line printer, so that you can print yourself a card. But then when you get it, you can't do anything with it because then you need the HR computer.
I see. So it kind of progresses you through a story like that.
Yeah. So really, it's the story of you doing shit for this mega corporation via all of these prisoners who have been arrested for really inane things.
This sounds awesome. I love it.
It's really funny. It has a really good sense of humor, and I think that while I really enjoy this game as like on its own, just the gameplay, I think that the humor really adds something to it. It makes you care a bit more about it.
Oh, you got to get that gasoline for your spaceship.
Yeah, essentially. I'm like, oh man, there's one more can over there, but there's a fucking gun point.
I don't know what that is. So it's
a turret.
Different like class of enemies. Yeah. Okay.
So this is kind of my strategy a lot of the time.
Blow them up with a grenade like that?
Well, those are little mines, but I've had trouble getting them to activate on things.
So you just shoot them instead?
So a lot of times, yeah, I'll just throw a mine at something that's disabled and then just blow it up that way.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, so I was looking at the map, I think debating on whether or not I wanted to go back.
Yeah, I
right
really like the art style.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
It has a really interesting, like, cel-shaded look, but it's not, like, as textured or gritty as something like Borderlands.
Yeah, I was saying it kind of looks like Killer 7, except colorized. Killer 7 has a distinctive lack of color, but this is, like,
Killer 7
colorful.
looked more, like, polygonal as well, whereas the enemies are hand-drawn enemies, and...
Oh, are they?
Yeah, like, you can kind of see, even when they turn, they
yeah,
have, like, an 8-gate turn that you always see, like, one view of that character.
Right, yeah, I'm kind of seeing that.
So it's got the whole Doom,
like the way that Doom,
sprites.
Yeah, kinda, yeah. Although there's, like, more of them than in basic Doom, but yeah, it's the same kind of idea. And then those are your materials at the bottom where you kind of, like, have to collect things so you can later salvage. So I just got a control bot, so I unlocked the kitty bot. So I'm able to create it, and now from then on, I have access to the kitty bots.
Okay.
I
So
won't
now I see
necessarily
bars-
have them, but I have access now. What?
I see bars under those other things. Can you also upgrade the weapons over time?
Yeah.
Or some of them, I should say.
Some of them. So you see the hefty regulator in top left? That's the second
Yeah.
version of that handgun.
Oh, okay.
So I've upgraded that handgun once. And you can
Okay.
kind of like set it up so you can search for specific things, or if you
Mhm.
kind of keep in mind which things you need, you can like sort of go out of your way to try to get them.
Okay.
So
now, say you run out of fuel. I was noticing you had to get fuel.
it has never happened to me, so I'm not sure.
Maybe that's game over. You have to start from scratch.
Maybe, or maybe your character just dies and they recall the ship. That's possible. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because usually, like, if you actually try to salvage effectively, you won't really run out of fuel from in my experience.
Right.
Granted, this is like, this is the first depth of the nebula. I got to the second depth later, but ended up dying.
One of the things, hang on, before we go to the next screen, I want to point out, I really, really like the comic book aesthetic that the whole game has.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
even
yeah.
the title screen was, like, an old-ass comic book.
Yeah, I know. I really love it. Something else is, like, weapons and ammo are also, like, your ammo is finite, so every bullet does count. But later on, you can get things
Ooh,
that...
it's like System Shock.
Yeah, it's actually, that is one of the things that is inspired it. Because it's a randomly generated game, though, like, you will run out of stuff, but it's not as if there are a finite number of placed bullets in the world or anything.
Right.
But it is true that, you know, you don't want to just spam your bullets and waste them, because if you run out, you're just boned. And actually, the first level of the game, like the tutorial, straight up they give you an empty gun, and they're like, oops, we didn't requisition enough ammo for you. Sorry. And then that's it.
Good luck. Have fun.
Good luck.
do you have any, like, recompense if you have no bullets? Can you, like, melee or anything?
No, but you can run away.
I see. Until you find more bullets.
And actually, there are enemies in the beginning of the game that you just can't deal with at all.
I see.
One of the enemies one of the earliest enemies that you run into that you really, like, I mean, you could probably kill it, but it would take a long time and take a lot of bullets. There's these enemies called the Screws, which are just really, like, tall people in, like, HVAC suits, kind of. They look like sort of big, angry skeleton versions of the Half-Life guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, who turned out the lights?
Here's those little juvie guys. Yeah, I don't know what they're supposed to be, but they always explode into, like, blue crap. Ectoplasm. I don't know if they're
Corporate
ghosts.
zombies.
You know, they're probably
They're
ghosts.
wage slaves.
They're probably
Wait.
ghosts or zombies, because all of these ships are derelict, so...
Yeah, so
Yeah.
has it explained to you, like, why they're like this?
Not really.
No, stop asking questions.
Yeah, that's probably why they don't explain it, because you're just
Yeah.
a corporate slave too.
I mean, you'll
So it makes
probably
sense that
pick
you-
it up over time, but I wouldn't expect any one specific character in this game to know fuck all, so...
Yeah.
Because your handler kind of just deals with you.
You're literally a dehydrated human being stored for this purpose.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
being a slave, basically, like a indentured. Well, I don't know if not indentured, but like
An
prisoner
indentured mercenary.
slave.
Yeah.
I think there's a word
Yeah,
for that, but I
pris-
can't think of it.
Yeah, it's a prisoner.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so this is like a Kittybot ship. So I'm finding a ton of Kittybot parts all over the place. So
I see.
I ended up leaving this place with like 100 Kittybots.
Okay,
or
now
something.
see, you just got another control collar. What happens now? Does that upgrade your kitty bots again, or?
No, not because typically the same item won't upgrade the same thing. Like it'll kind of scale up. So I can
Right.
either recycle it and turn it into like different scrap, or something else might need it later that I don't know about yet.
Right. Okay.
Also, I really like the like sort of pseudo stealth mechanic there, where you can see like there are people walking, there are like people making noises coming through this particular door.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the game actually does have some stealth mechanics. Like enemies don't really chase you until you've made noise near them or you shoot them or something. So you
Right,
can
yeah.
sort
It
of
has,
sneak
like,
around them a little bit.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's pretty bare bones, and you aren't really necessarily expected to sneak past everything. Although you probably could. If you notice, I just hit the oxygen.
And that made your oxygen go up. I was gonna ask about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're on an oxygen time limit, but it's never been crazy important, at least early on, to like manage that. But I assume
Right.
I assume it's just a mechanic that makes
can
sure you
see
can't
if you
hang
go-
around too long.
Yeah, I can see if you go further though, they could add like a hazard, like, oh no, the oxygen's not lasting very good here because reasons.
Yeah.
So like another like permutation to the game.
Yeah, that or like I bet later on the ships just get bigger.
Probably.
So maybe at some point you just aren't able to explore a whole ship because you just don't have enough oxygen.
Yeah,
Or-
like you're going on to a dreadnought, so it's just enormous.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, I haven't gotten that far, but I could easily see that being a mechanic in the late game.
Yeah. I'm really digging like just the general ship layouts. Like they're procedurally generated, but it's like believable that this is the layout of a spaceship, you know?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where they build a bunch of rooms and then they put together a bunch of layouts and then they kind of randomize the layouts and then there's usually multiple places you could dock as well. So
Oh, cool.
something else is there's like hazards. So you keep seeing like radiation things. See the little spiky lines is me making noise.
Okay.
There's that's one of the things I really like about this game. To tangent a little bit here is it has a lot of like visual feedback in addition to any noise feedback, so you can listen to like even just watching this game in silence, you can tell a lot of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah,
which
that
is really
true.
good. But anyway,
And
there's a
in
lot of
game with stealth mechanics. You know, that's really nice.
yeah.
Mhm.
Even if they're pretty bare bones, like I feel like they could have not done that and been fine, but like that's a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Especially in the comic book aesthetic, because you have the little like spike lines and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of hazards that you can run into on the ship. In addition to the power being off, you can find irradiated rooms, which is why there's like radiation sickness healing places. I feel one of the like character things I found is like a negative penalty to radiation that I've had. You can like sometimes if you kill enemies, they'll have blood on the floor, and if you walk through the blood, that might make you slip around like an oil slick. There's like a number of different things in addition to just yeah.
Unlock something that counters them.
Yeah, and see, you can see like it takes the lint brush and water-based lube and a magnifying glass for the rad cream, and just there's a bunch of different items in addition to just the stuff that you can find. Here's the tutorial for recycling, but I don't really have anything
Yeah, okay.
worth recycling. But or do I? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
this looks pretty in depth. I like it a lot.
And actually, like this page gets bigger as you go on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
Oh,
as
yeah, I
you
can see
learn
things
more
getting-
stuff, you find more things, and it gets
Right.
kind of crazy.
All right.
Yeah, and then everything it kind of is broken down into 5 materials that you can build other stuff with. In the
Right.
top left, you see locate mode. If I'm looking for a specific part of a thing, or I want a specific thing, I can set something up to locate, and it'll point me the direction of different things on the star map. So if I need a metal tube, for instance, if I click on like the gun that needs a metal tube, it'll point me to a metal tube on the star map, which is pretty cool. So I don't know, like there's so many good quality of life things that I would almost not expect from an indie like this, but
Yeah.
it's just so well rounded. I just absolutely love this game. This is the first like game like this in a while that I've been really excited about.
I really haven't hadn't paid any attention to it. I didn't even really know what it looked like before we started this, but I'm definitely gonna go check it out. This looks really fun. I kind of want to play it right now while we're recording.
Yeah. So no, I really like this game. It's an easy recommendation for me. So, and I don't know. One of the things that bugged me the most about FTL was it felt like you were punished a lot by randomness, whereas this game, it feels like you kind of are in control of what's happening. And it has a definite goal and end, because you're trying to unlock all of your stuff, and they give you story reasons to find stuff, and you don't lose all of your progress when you die. You lose whatever that one character was.
Right.
So that other gun that I'm not taking because I don't have any ammo for it, it's a staple gun. It literally shoots staples.
Oh.
Oh, and you can also see the enemy types over on the side there, I noticed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And if
yeah,
you don't recognize
really
them,
good at giving you information.
Oh, then you can be like, oh no.
yeah, then you probably should be. Oh no. There's my kitty bot.
It doesn't seem to be working. Oh
I
no,
was
it was
shooting.
a distraction. Okay.
Yeah, it was a distraction bot.
I see. I thought it was supposed to be like a choo-choo where it goes until it hits a wall and explodes.
Something else that's nice is it even tells you what kind of enemies you're gonna run into based on the kinds of noises that it's telling you about.
Oh, good.
So it made little
yeah, there was one that was hover, hover, hover. There was step, step, step.
yeah, and
Each
that
tourists probably make a squishing noise.
no, the tourists make a hover sound. Or
Oh, okay.
whatever, I guess, because that always means tourist. That's actually what made me think of it. Was I saw hover and then I saw the tourist. But yeah, or even Schlick or whatever, they make squelch noises.
Can you
Yeah, there's
also
a
hear
tourist.
those noises, or do they just pop up?
would
I
assume
think
you
you
could.
can. I think you can hear them. It's when I was playing it, I found the audio kind of low.
Ah.
But I often turn my volume down anyway, so I don't know. I was just content to not listen to the sound. Here's a screw. I'm shooting him in the head. Look how much damage it's doing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
no. Unfortunately, he's running by the door, so I have to run past him.
Jesus.
So I tried to lock the door, but he opened the
It
door
didn't
too
work.
quick.
Now it's turned into a survival horror game.
Yeah, because you have to
Oh,
authorize the door to lock, and it takes a second. So
Yeah. It's probably so that you cannot do exactly what you tried to just do.
well, you can kind of do it, and look, I do it here. 'Cause it
There
takes
you
a few
go.
oh, maybe it's that dude that hovers. I don't know. But
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, I locked him in that side of the room, but that doesn't help me forever.
Does he break out of it eventually?
No, because I didn't lock him in a dead end.
Oh, okay, so he'll get back to you.
So he'll probably walk around. And then in addition to that, there's also spawners on the map that you can't do anything about. So I don't think you can permanently get rid of all the enemies anyway.
Right.
And
One
do
thing-
the enemies, killing them give you anything, like loot or XP?
Yeah,
Or
they
it's
drop
just,
some stuff. Most of them, from what I've seen, most of them drop pens,
Yeah.
which get salvaged into
I saw a stomp.
I don't know. I don't know what that was.
Yeah,
there might be
worried
another one
outside,
around.
You're gonna die.
You see that thing over there? Oh, I looked away from it, but there's a little glowy thing on the floor. Oh, there's a screw. That thing right there.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's a
thinking.
spawn point right there that I'm
So
standing
I
by.
think that's the stomp. Okay, yeah. I was wondering what those were, but you said there were hazards, so I just kind of assumed it was a hazard.
Yeah.
That thing's coming at you, dude. That's pretty cool. It even has an enemy type that just kind of turns it into a survival horror almost.
Well, initially, I'm sure that eventually you'll be able to kill those things because I ran into other things later on that I could not kill at all. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
And there's different enemy types. Like one is a person that has a shield from the front, so can't really kill it from the front because it has this energy shield. So you have to get behind it to kill it. And then even then, if you're not quick enough, it could just turn around and then start walking towards you again.
Right.
So
it
actually, even in the short time, even in
to play.
yeah, even in the short time that I've played, I've actually felt like there's a really good variety of levels as well.
Good.
So yeah, I'm totally into this game. It's easily a recommendation for me.
Yeah,
So,
it
I
looks
definitely wanna
really
play
fun.
it. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
kind
and
of
I
has
sh-
something to scratch that itch for everybody. It's a shooter, so it's more action oriented. It's got like that unlock-a-thon kind of feel going on, like almost like Binding of Isaac that people really like about these types of games.
Mm-hmm. And it
It-
has a
it-
definite
it
end
feels cool.
and like a progression, so it doesn't feel like I know the one complaint a lot of people have with roguelites is just that you lose all of your progress a lot of times when you
Uh-huh.
die, or if not all progress, like significant progress, like you lose that character and that build and all of that. And
Right.
some people don't like that, and I feel like this game, even when you die, it is a penalty, but it's not a huge penalty the same way it is in other games. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Which
yeah,
I'm just gonna say here, like you like games like that, right? It's not like you're saying that.
oh yeah, I'm not saying that it's better because of that.
that
I'm
it's
saying that
better
it is
because
a
of that.
thing.
It's a preference thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a thing that will indicate
Because
whether or not
people
you
like
like
to
it.
act elitist about that, like, oh, if you don't do permadeath, then it's just there's
Yeah.
not hardcore enough, you know.
I
you
mean,
know how it
I
is.
like, and I'm a person who will typically play with permadeath
Yeah, if
on the
there's the
hardest
option.
difficulty if there's an option.
That's
but
just
yeah.
not how this one's designed.
yeah, but I don't feel high and mighty about it either. Like I'm trying to play in the way that I think they intended, but
Mhm.
like if for instance I just didn't like the permadeath in a particular game, I'm not gonna leave it on if it totally tanks my enjoyment of it.
Right.
Is there a way to turn off the permadeath in this game, or is it just?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming.
Even to the extent that like you carry over
yeah, I
health
wouldn't assume
between
so.
between areas. Like you
Oh,
notice
yeah.
one of the functions of food that it was showing was that
It restores your health.
it restores health. So you can sit in one spot and just eat a bunch of sandwiches
Oh.
to restore health, but that's a finite resource, and you need. I don't know if you
keep raiding
need.
in order-
I don't know if you need it or not, but like you can't. Like jumping to an area also
I'm sorry. That was
consumes a
funny,
food.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know. Yeah, he's fucking up that kitty bot.
You just like you see stomp 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 on the door and then you open it and he's just standing there like surprise motherfucker.
Yeah, and then I'm like peeking around the corner and I'm like, yeah, I made it to the Steve. So yeah, this game is great. I recommend it to basically anyone. Oh, another thing you lose when you die is you lose all of your food and fuel because you
Oh,
restart
yeah.
back at the like mothership or whatever.
Right.
So you do lose some stuff, but
Okay.
it's just not quite the same as a lot of games like this. So yeah, so I don't know. This is an easy recommendation. I think everyone should check it out. Any
It looks
last
fantastic.
any last thoughts before we head out?
No, I'm excited. I'm
gonna
gonna
go
get this
play
game
right
as soon as
now.
I can. It looks really good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next time, and remember, as always.
Stay beautiful.